Hey everyone, and welcome back to another podcast. Week 1's in the books. It was a really great week of football, and I thought I'd do my picks for the awards of the week. Now, there are a number of great performances this week that I really enjoyed watching, so a few honourable mentions, and it's crazy to think that these guys are just honourable mentions. We had Antonio Brown going out and getting 182 yards. Tyreek Hill had a big day. We also had Tariq Cohen on the Bears. He was a surprising but really nice addition there. And a number of other guys who played really well as well. Barry Church on defence looked good in his new role there on the Jaguars. The Jaguars' defence as a whole actually looked really menacing and were all over the quarterback. And I'll get to that a bit later. We also had a number of really good kicking performances on special teams, and I found it hard to make a decision there on who my special teams player of the week would be. So let's get into it. Another honourable mention as I go into the offensive player of the week have to be both Stephon Diggs and Sam Bradford. Both played brilliant games on Monday Night Football. So my offensive player of the week, my pick is Alex Smith. He was amazing against the Patriots and was completing passes at a record-setting pace and looked really exciting with a number of deep shots in that game. Even on the shorter touchdown he threw at the beginning to Demetrius Harris, he threw his receiver open if you watch the play back. This was a real elite franchise quarterback throw that you would expect. So look to see him continue on this momentum and try to have more performances like that. He looked really sharp and was playing a tough Patriots team. He also will get my pick as the FedEx Air Player of the Week. Now, defensively, I found this really difficult. The Jaguars' defense looked really strong, and they were all over the Texans, so I'm just going to highlight their whole defensive line. In particular, Calais Campbell, Dante Fowler, and Yannick Ngakoue were all over him. They were getting sacks, forcing fumbles on both Savage and Watson, and giving them no peace. No wonder they could mount no offense. Now, Special Teams Player of the Week. This is really difficult because there were two brilliant performances, in my opinion, this week. First off was Giorgio Tavecchio, who set records in his debut with 250-plus yard field goals and looked consistent throughout the game. Bear in mind, as I mentioned before, this was his debut, his first game. He looked great for the Raiders. Now, another brilliant performance of special teams was Matt Prater, who was consistent all game long, including a 58-yarder, and even took over punting duties when Casey Redfern, the Lions' current punter, went down, who it's now been released that he has an ACL tear and will miss the season, so we wish him all the best with the recovery. But Matt Prater did a really solid job and also showed his versatility by excelling in both the kicking game and punting, even pinning the opponents inside the 20 with a really nice kick at one point. Now, my underrated performance of the week has to go to Tariq Cohen. Now, the reason I call this underrated is he's definitely a candidate for Offensive Player of the Week, but not many people perhaps watch the Bears or perhaps know the good performances on lower teams, if you like. But Tariq Cohen was brilliant in both the running and receiving game and actually led the Bears in both categories and almost to a win over the Falcons. Now, he showed versatility and his ability to make plays and make defenders miss. I thought he was really impressive in that regard. So finally, I have my offensive and defensive rookies of the week. Now, offensive rookie of the week, and I'm also going to give him the ground player of the week, has to be Kareem Hunt. Now, Dalvin Cook was a pretty good bet here and definitely worthy of an honourable mention. He helped in the humiliation of Adrian Peterson that was sad to see, to be honest. Arguing with his coaches, he got very few carries, and then to have his rookie rushing record broken by Dalvin Cook must have been quite humiliating for him, and I do feel for him, but you've got to handle that situation better. So anyway, talking about the player I've chosen, Kareem Hunt, he set a number of records in his debut and lit up the Patriots defence, both running and receiving, showing great ability in both aspects of the game. He also bounced back really nicely from an early fumble in a really impressive way, because it's easy to let that get in your head, but he didn't let it get to him and he came out and proved that he has what it takes to be a great player in this league. Now, defensive rookie of the week, I have TJ Watt. He was outstanding, recording 2 sacks and also making a great leaping interception, which has made it onto highlight reels everywhere. He looked even good against the hype, which is the hype of being the brother of JJ, so that's a lot of build-up and a lot of expectations. Now, we can't compare them like that because they're not the same person, but that is a lot of hype on your shoulders, and he really lived up to it and looked great in week 1, so look for him to try and carry on that momentum. Now, I was impressed also, talking of rookies, with Deshaun Kaiser. He looked good in his debut. Of course, there's areas to grow and improve, but that's to be expected. But it looks like the Browns might have finally found their franchise quarterback. Thanks as always for watching, and have a great day.